Hello, dear students. I am Samir Velankar. I welcome all of you to this video in which we will be solving some GATE questions asked on finding candidate keys using functional dependencies. We are given a relational schema, that is table we are given, with the attributes E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. M, N. I think the last one is N. It's a typing mistake, sorry. And some functional dependencies are given. This is set of functional dependencies. As an example, EF determines G. Check the first functional dependency. EF determines G. The second one is F determines IJ, and so on, isn't it? So we are asked to find out the key for R. Now, when they ask key for R, they mean that you are supposed to find out candidate key. The key here means candidate key. Now, what was the procedure? You would find E plus, isn't it? The first attribute is E. So you'll find E plus and you will see whether E plus contains all the attributes. Then you will find F plus, then G plus. Oh, good Lord, this is going to be time taking. How can you find closure of so many attributes? So here is the trick actually. What you do, you see all the functional dependencies, okay? And you see the right side of all the functional dependencies. Just watch the right side of all the functional dependencies. Okay, I'm just marking it. Here we go. Now you see among all the right sides, which attribute does not come at all in the right side of any of the functional dependencies. I'm writing the attributes which come in the right hand side. G comes in the right hand side. Yes, G is there in the right hand side. G, I, J is also there. Both these attributes here I am ticking. KL is there. Okay, KL on the right side. M is there. M is there. And N is also there on the right side. But then you find out that E and F are the two attributes which never come anywhere on the right side of any of the functional dependencies, isn't it? All other attributes which I am underlining are there in the right side of some functional dependencies. But EF, these two attributes never come on the right hand side. Then surely, absolutely, surely, candidate key should contain E and F. Definitely it should contain. How come? Because we know that candidate key is such a key which determines all the attributes, isn't it? Now come on, E and F, both the attributes are never there on the right side. I rewrite something over here. Let's say some left hand side recognizes E and some left hand side recognizes F. If you have such dependencies, only then something can bring in F, E and something can bring in F in our closure set. But E and F can never come in the closure set because E and F are never there on the right hand side. That means the candidate key, whatever it is, we don't know yet. We don't know the answer. But E and F should be inherent part of the candidate key. I hope you're understanding. I repeat, just in one line. Check the right hand side of all the dependencies. Find out, is there any attribute missing on the right hand side? And we found two attributes missing, EF. Then definitely EF should be part of candidate key. Best thing you can do, is you can find EF closure. Who knows, EF will recognize all the attributes. Now EF will contain EF. That's good news, isn't it? See, otherwise there were no chances that you can bring E and F inside this closure set. Absolutely not, because E and F is not there on the right hand side of any of the functional dependencies. Okay, now E and F have joined this. So what is EF going to bring in? I am ticking this particular functional dependency. E and F together will bring G. And you watch, I am ticking this also. F will bring in IJ, isn't it? Yes, exactly. This F will bring I and J. Okay. Now you watch, E and E and H cannot be used yet, what I am underlining, because although E is there in the closure, H is not there. So this dependency cannot be used till now. K determines M cannot be used because K is not there in the closure set. L determines N. No, we can't use this. L determines N because L is not the part of the attribute closure set. If L was there, then N will join. The right hand side will join. So EF is going to simply contain EFGIJ. That means EF, the first option, cannot be a candidate key. Definitely EF will be part of candidate key. But then what are you supposed to put some more things in EF? Only EF cannot recognize all the attributes. So what if I put EFH? Let's check the second option. EFH plus will definitely contain EFH. Yes, everyone. Now look, E and F together will bring G. Okay, G joins. Then you see this F will bring in IJ because F is in the closure. F will bring in I and J, isn't it so? Then you can use this EH. You watch EH because E and H both are in the closure. So K and L also will join the closure, isn't it? And K, this one, K is now in the closure. So K will bring in M. Okay. And you see L is there in the closure already and L will bring in N. I hope you have understood. That means E, F, H, all these three attributes can determine all the attributes. So E, F, H is the answer. You can try other options. Of course, D is absolutely not possible because E and F are missing on the right hand side. So E and F must be the part of the candidate key. I hope you have understood this. So option B is correct. Let's see GATE 2005. Same kind of question. We are given a relation R that is stable with A, B, C, D, E, H attributes. Yeah, F is missing. A, B, C, D, E, H. And the functional dependencies are given. And what are the candidate keys of R? The options are given. Isn't it so? Now you again use our same method. Let's check the right hand side of all these functional dependencies. I'll write the key attributes which are there on the right hand side. A is there, B is there, okay, C is also there on the right hand side, and D is there. But you will find out that E and H is missing. E and H is missing on the right hand side of any functional dependency. That means nothing can determine E and H. I repeat, nothing can determine E and H. That means E and H must determine something, isn't it? So definitely the candidate key must contain E and H. I'm not saying E and H is the candidate key, but E and H must be the part of candidate key. Definitely A, E, B, E, D, E cannot be candidate key. These two options are still open, correct or not? So here what they are asking is E and H, you watch. E and H, E H, and BCH. Watch this, BCH. No, BCH. You can't have this because E and H has to be the part of candidate key. Are you understanding? So this cannot be, BCH cannot be a candidate key. Then the option D is correct. Confirm it if you find AEH closure, AEH closure, and then you find BEH closure, and you find DEH closure. These closures are going to contain all the keys. So these are the candidate keys. Thank you very much.